So what would better relations between Ethiopia and Eritrea mean for the East African region? For more on that, earlier CGTN reporter Vauldi Carelse sat down with Dr. Hassan Khannenje. He's the director of the Horn Institute in Kenya.
Dr. Khannenje, I'm wondering if you could tell us how significant would lasting peace between Ethiopia and Eritrea be for the East African region?
Lasting peace would perhaps be one of the best things that's happened in the Horn of Africa, especially between Ethiopia and Eritrea. For many years, as you may understand, Eritrea has been isolated and has been suffering from economic sanctions from the region and from the rest of the world. Now, the potential for economic growth and investment in Eritrea and in Ethiopia equally, now that they can be able to use common resources such as the port, of course, which was a source of conflict, I think it holds great potential. But also for East Africa diplomatically, it's going to be very encouraging, in part because Eritrea has been accused for many years of supporting subversive elements within Ethiopia and sometimes in Somalia. And if that can come to an end, I think it's going to be helpful in achieving lasting peace in the entire region.
And how encouraged are you by the latest developments between the two countries?
I would like to hail the current Prime Minister of Ethiopia for the efforts and outreach effort he's been making, not just to regional partners and arch rivals such as Eritrea, but also internationally. And it holds great promise for the permanent peace, not just between Ethiopia and Eritrea, but for the entire region. It's setting a very good pace and positive message. Just to mention the latest event where currently Sudanese are meeting actually in Addis Ababa to try and hammer out an agreement that can bring an end to the 5-year conflict between the parties in South Sudan.
Do you think there's a real sense of commitment by the leaders of Ethiopia and Eritrea for lasting peace?
In conflict and war, sometimes, especially in intractable conflict, there's something we call a harding stalemate. Now, there seems to be a sense of recognition that neither side stands to benefit in this long-standing conflict. In part, if you can remember going back in 1998-2000, about 100,000 people lost their lives. Economically, both countries have suffered immensely. And with the new leadership in Ethiopia and a recognition, especially in Asmara, that perhaps continued conflict is not beneficial to anyone, I think there is a real sense that this is an opportunity for them to move ahead. But there's also another dynamic at play here. Even as Ethiopia and Eritrea were arch enemies and sworn enemies for 20 years, Eritrea still managed to host some Ethiopian dissidents, especially in the Oromia region, in part because some of them had been declared persona non grata in Ethiopia, or they were simply did not get a chance to express themselves politically. And if you can remember, the current Prime Minister is actually from Oromia region. So there is, I think, a real and genuine desire to try and mend those fences, not just because they had been enemies, but because they played a role in each other's struggles.